My name is Benjamin.
And I am Benjamin.
And this week on Avidium, we are going to discuss various recounts occurring of the presidential election, Trump's cabinet picks, the election of Trump, that legal term of the week being certiorari, and the Dakota Access Pipeline.
So it's time to talk about the recounts.
There have been various recounts for which Jill Stein and the Green Party have been raising money to conduct.
Also an independent candidate named something or other. I don't exactly know his name, but there were a few independent candidates joining her, I know. Rocky Roque de la Fuente. That's him.
Oh, and at one point he was a member of the Democratic Party.
Yep.
Until 2016.
And he may also be Reform Party.
Yeah, he's now a member of the Reform Party.
But split off to be an independent because he didn't like the Reform Party for some reason.
No, he didn't get the nomination of the Reform Party. He still is a member of the Reform Party.
It's unclear exactly what he believes, but he's joining the recount.
Yeah, and so in Michigan, it's in the courts right now being litigated on whether the recount can occur because Jill Stein isn't putting up the money that is being asked of her, and the state is claiming that she doesn't have a chance to win this recount, and therefore she can't call for it.
But shouldn't she still be allowed to call for a recount? Because it does have something to do with her support base. She needs to know she has a support base.
No, because the way the law is written, it says that a losing candidate can call for a recount, and I think the argument that's being made, if I'm correct,
is that Jill Stein didn't lose, which makes absolutely no sense.
No, what I think it is if I can pull it up and I'm correct. So where is it? Where is the presidential race?
Presidential race, but essentially, I think I can summarize it for you. The problem is that Jill Stein wasn't on the ballot, correct?
Yes, and therefore she wasn't the losing candidate, but I just want to confirm.
So we think people voted for Jill Stein.
But now the thing here is, their argument is that she wasn't a fully fledged candidate, but she wasn't on the ballot, which I think is...
Which makes her a candidate.
No, because people vote for Donald Duck, but Donald Duck hasn't filed the paperwork, and therefore can't be elected, and therefore isn't a candidate.
Well, if you get votes, you're a candidate.
No.
So Donald Duck was a candidate.
No, because legally, there's paperwork you have to file to be a candidate.
Well, do you agree, or do you think that Michigan has no case about Jill Stein?
I think that they make a good point that she wasn't a losing candidate.
She was a candidate.
But she wasn't.
She was running for president. That's what a candidate does.
No, some candidates run for state office.
Yes, well, she was running for an office. That's what a candidate does.
But
can you at least
I think
that?
No, because I think Michigan has a point that Jill Stein was not a candidate and therefore was not a losing candidate, and therefore under their current laws could not call for this recount. However, I do think that they should change their laws to allow non-candidates to call for recount.
I just think we should just change the definition of candidate as to me it seems like being if she was campaigning, that makes you a candidate. Why would they put a wait-in slot if people voted for in the wait-in slot out candidates?
But they are. I think their argument would be she didn't get enough votes to be a candidate.
Well, we don't know how many votes she got because...
Well, yes, we do. Because...
But they haven't done a recount yet.
No, but the issue in Michigan is that they had straight party tickets, but that straight party ticket option didn't include president. So there's very little chance that the vote will change, and she will still probably keep the same number of votes.
Well, it's still somewhat hard on the Green Party because they can't nominate somebody for every office.
Yeah, but then also the thing for the Green Party is they raised $7 million and are now telling the court that they don't have the money to pay $1 million to get this recount going. And even though they raised $7 million to recount the votes. So they were dishonest to someone. And I think we need more information about that.
I think that part of the problem might be that it takes like a groundwork to get a recount going.
Yes, but the way it works is, in Michigan, Michigan State Board of Elections has said, you need to pay $1 million to get us to recount the votes. And Jill Stein has said that they don't have the money to pay that, even though they raised $7 million.
How much does... Yeah, we'll have to wait until stuff comes in about how they're using that $7 million.
Well, they said that they were using those $7 million to pay for the recounts. So clearly they are being dishonest to either the public or the court.
Or both.
Or both, yeah, that's also potentially
Wasn't this
possible.
being dishonest to a news reporter about how much money they had actually raised?
No, because they have a huge thing online that shows how much they have raised. And also, I believe there are some filings that they have made that also support that they've raised the $7 million.
Yeah, besides, the recounts were backed by a handful of candidates, I think. De La Fuente, who's fairly rich and probably could contribute.
Yeah, but the recount is not legally being called for by anyone other than Jill Stein. So Jill Stein is responsible for putting the money up, and she has $7 million.
Can she get some money from De La Fuente?
She could, but she also has $7 million that she said she was raising to pay for this.
Well,
but now somehow that's
$7
not
million.
No, but no one is challenging that figure. And also, it's on their website quite large. If they don't actually, and a lot of people have publicly stated that they're donating to it. So there's no reason to believe that the $7 million figure is incorrect.
Nice.
Anything else you want to say about the recount?
I hope that they actually go through because street party ticket voting without the presidential voting is just weird.
But that wouldn't be changed in the recount. They're still going to count the ballots the same way.
Well, still, if they find that there's a difference, it's possibly because of that, then they might change it.
No, because before the election occurs, the State Board of Election determines how the ballot will look.
No,
and
for
how
later elections, I don't think.
For later elections, possibly.
Nice. So,
however, we already know that there were 76,000 people who voted straight ticket Democrat but didn't vote in that race, in the presidential race. So it clearly had an effect. But
yeah, probably there's also some amount of Republicans that.
Yes, however, that statistic hasn't been publicized. I don't believe.
Yeah, maybe somebody will find it pretty soon, but that's all for recounts for now.
So, Benjamin, you wanted to talk about the various cabinet picks, and there's a really good New York Times interactive that shows who he has nominated, who he hasn't nominated, who he might nominate, and what each of the positions he is nominating do. And that is going to be in the links on the blog.
And he still has a lot of people to figure out.
He has not nominated anyone for the Department of State.
Which is kind of important.
The Department of the Interior, Agriculture, Labor, Energy, Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, the Environmental Protection Agency, the United States Trade Representative, or Housing and Urban Development.
And then we have to get the Senate to confirm all those. So let's start at somewhere. I vote.
Oh, and he also hasn't picked a Director of National Intelligence.
Yeah,
so now we're just going to go down the list. He has nominated James N. Mattis,
yes,
the now retired former Marine commander
Yes,
in the invasion of Iraq.
And Pierre did a piece about that guy, how he might not be the perfect candidate for the job according to some people who sort of support him.
However, I've actually heard that story,
Yeah.
and basically what it is they think that they shouldn't be picking someone from the military.
Yes, which is a real point as Trump's list is apparently very military heavy.
Yes, however, the Department of Defense is the only department with a restriction on whether the former military members can lead it. So then next he has nominated Steven Mnuchin for
I think you might be
Treasury
pronouncing his name wrong. Mnuchin. I'm gonna say Mnuchin maybe, but that's probably inaccurate.
Who served as his campaign finance chairman. He is a former Goldman Sachs executive who has many Hollywood connections.
So a lot like a mini version of Trump.
Not really, because this person has less connections to politics, and basically he has generally just been in line with many other people who are somewhat neutral. But
he has absolutely no experience in anything political, really.
Yeah, but most nominees for various things don't have much experience.
There were, at least the defense secretary has some military experience. And now, for some reason, Bush's labor secretary is the transportation secretary under Trump. And it's also Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine Chao.
Yeah, so that's the transportation secretary.
Which used to be the labor secretary. Why can't Trump just make the old labor secretary still the new labor secretary and find somebody else to do transportation? That's all he knows how to do, labor.
Then maybe because he thinks she did a bad job. Then Tom Price has been nominated for Health and Human Services Secretary, and he is a former surgeon and longtime congressperson from Georgia who has led a major opposition to the Affordable Care Act. However, unlike many other people who oppose it, he has actually advocated replacement and has given proposals of alternatives.
Which makes more sense than almost everybody else who is trying to replace it. But still, it seems that a lot of Trump's nominees.
And then Wilbur Ross has been nominated for Commerce Secretary. He has been very protectionist and wants to avoid being sucked into what he calls bad trade agreements.
So he essentially just wants to fall in line with Trump and
however he's had that view since before Trump. Then Betsy DeVos has been nominated for Education Secretary. And she is a strong believer in school vouchers and charter schools.
Yes, school vouchers are essentially a program that lets you take state money to go to a non-state school.
Yeah. And then Nikki Haley has been nominated for UN Ambassador. And she was a very vicious critic of Donald Trump before his election.
Yeah.
For Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Ben Carson was nominated.
Except that he's not.
Except it doesn't look. Yeah. But then Ben Carson came and said that he doesn't have the qualifications necessary to run a large government agency. Well, Mr. Carson, if you don't have the qualifications necessary to run a government agency, maybe you shouldn't have been trying to run the largest government agency. And then Mike Pompeo has been nominated for the CIA director, and he was a large critic of Hillary Clinton in respect to the Benghazi affair. And then Jeff Sessions, a general crazy person who even the Republicans rejected for a federal judgeship, has been nominated for Attorney General. And then Michael T. Flynn, a former general and leader of the Defense Intelligence Agency, has been appointed as the National Security Advisor, and he will be taking office on day one of the Trump administration. Reince Priebus, the chairman of the Republican National Committee, probably going to step down soon, though, has been nominated for the Chief of Staff. Stephen Bannon, the leader of Breitbart News and chairman of Trump's campaign.
And racist.
Has been nominated for Chief Strategist. Secretary of State.
We somehow still don't get notice.
Yeah.
This is the most important office that Trump gets to pick. Actually, likely. And Mitch McConnell is one of the
Vice President. Yeah, as is David Petraeus.
Giuliani is also there. There's a handful of interesting names, a lot of unknown ones.
And then for defense and then director of
there's a few more interesting.
Then for director of national intelligence, the people who we think are going to be nominated for that is basically down to Michael Rogers or David Petraeus or Rudy Giuliani.
And there's also a guy named Townsend who I guess technically could be nominated.
Yes, however, he could nominate anyone. Then for
Interior, he could nominate you.
Yeah.
I would support that.
Then for Interior Secretary, there are a number of people, none of which are especially interesting.
Besides Sarah Palin.
Then for Secretary of Agriculture, no one very interesting has been nominated.
At least they all sort of have the agricultural experience.
For Labor Secretary, the Victoria Lipnick looks like they're going to be nominated. Who is a current Equal Opportunity Employment Commissioner and a member of the Workforce Policy Council.
Does that mean that she might be more liberal than Trump's other picks?
I don't know. For Energy Secretary, no one very interesting. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, both Sarah Palin, Scott Brown, and Jeff Miller have all been proposed. For Homeland Security Secretary, Giuliani's back up for it.
Because Trump seems to want to make Giuliani absolutely everything.
John Kelly, other than that, not much interesting. Then for EPA administrator, there's not many interesting people.
Besides one's a climate change skeptic.
And then U.S. Trade Representative, it looks like it's going to be Don DeMacchio.
It's Don DeMicco, but whatever.
Oh, yes. And he is the former chief executive of Nucor Corporation, which produces steel, and he
hates China.
Yeah, because he claims that Chinese steel has been trying to put him out of business. And
it's called competition, and it's exactly what free market economy people want.
And so that is the various cabinet picks from Donald Trump. Now we will move on to Trump's election as president. Yeah. So, Trump was elected president, and is in Trump Tower, still costing New York millions of dollars in protection fees. It's unclear whether the federal government is going to refund that. That's pretty much it. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I think Trump should pay him to visit Pocket also regarding elected meeting Hillary Clinton only because Wyoming and all the smaller states have a bunch of electoral votes.
But why do you think he should pay it out of his own pocket? Because it's quite standard that the federal government covers it, since it is now the residence of the president, and that's the president-elect. What?
But there's the White House. Can't he just go to the White House?
Yes, however, there's no legal requirement that the president live in the White House.
Do you think Trump actually will live in the White House?
I think he might, but his wife and son will remain in Trump Tower. That's been made clear. Is there anything else you'd like to say about it?
That America hopefully won't elect Trump again.
Yeah. So this week's That's Illegal term of the week is certiorari.
In its English pronunciation.
Yes, which is when generally the Supreme Court sends a case back down to a lower court to have that lower court review their initial decision. So at the Dakota Access Pipeline, a whole bunch of veterans have joined them to form a human shield. However, the veterans have agreed not to go near a bridge where the protesters have clashed with police.
Why?
Because the police told them not to, and the veterans wanted to come to a compromise, so they negotiated it out and compromised on that. Is there anything else you'd like to say about this?
So far, the protests haven't actually have been delaying it a bit, I think.
It hasn't been at all effective so far.
Yeah, that's somewhat sad that protests can't actually stop the pipeline. Do people actually want this pipeline? A lot.
Big business does, and people who own stock in the company, including Donald Trump, do.
Yes, so Donald Trump will probably try and stop this protest and build a pipeline over.
Yeah, well, the pipeline, this protest is not at all stopping the pipeline. They've continued to build it. They put up huge barricades around where they're building it, and they really don't seem to care.
Trying to stop the pipeline.
Yeah, but they aren't doing very well.
Nice to know.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about this?
Well, they're building a pipeline. That's the point, sadly. I know we've already talked about this on a previous Iridium, and we may talk about it on future Iridiums if new developments occur.
So this has been Iridium for the week of December 5th.